Hello and welcome to another episode of The Gathering, a magic podcast with Jack. And
Hey, what's up? It's Cole.
today we're going to be talking about the new MH3 cards and their impact on Modern. We're going to be reviewing Spike's list and a couple other things. Super excited to jump into it.
Absolutely, as am I. I think a fantastic place to start is D tier, the good cards for bad decks. Personally, where I like to hang out in the old um, metasphere of modern. It's just better this way. You just float underneath the radar, and it is bad in quotations for a reason. They're just less used decks and less export archetypes. So anything standing out to you, Jack, for this list here?
So, I'm in the same boat with you, Cole. I love brewing. I feel like if you can get a win with a deck that nobody's seen before, it feels so special. So, like, right off the bat, I just see, like, Orhim's Chant at the bottom. And I remember back to when that card was spoiled and we were thinking about Isochron Scepter. And I feel like that's a two-card combo that can go in any deck. You play four Orm's Chant, four Isochron Scepter, and if you play like Thoughtseize or like another form of like an instant or sorcery you want to put under that artifact, then I feel like it would be worth it. So like that's like an example of like a random brew around card that may or may not be worth it, but would be a lot of fun. What about you?
Yeah, that's a great point. I'm definitely rolling my eyes at you as someone who does not want to get Orum's chanted Isochron Scepter locked, but it definitely is cool if you're on like the sending end of it. So it makes sense that the appeal's there. For me, I want to really see a buried alive victimized deck exist in modern. I think we have the tools. I think it's kind of amazing that it's down here in Spike's D tier. Like it just kind of goes to show what his priorities are. I think in modern, and he knows that you know the answers are. This is a format of answers. So having cards like Victimize, Buried Alive, they're only as good if you're really doing the thing. And I think maybe he's thinking the thing isn't going to be done as much as maybe I think. So things we want to do with Buried Alive Victimize. Well, I definitely want, and I like the old like fallback plan of Buried Alive, get two prized amalgams and a Narcomoeba, and you just kind of like build your own rhinos in a way. Rhinos at home is what I've been hearing. That's like totally fine. Um, Aside from that, like this deck, like it's got so many good utility pieces in it. You can put um, three Arc-like Phoenixes in your graveyard. You can do um, enough here. I don't know. I'm just thinking of like these loops that in conjunction with Victimize, like Buried Alive puts three dudes in the bin. Victimize, needs two targets, which I think might be its hardest hurdle to jump through, is that it actually needs two creatures to reanimate. Like, I don't think you're gonna have any issue if you play Citrus Supplier and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, keep a lookout for it. I also think it's really cute to go like turn two Agatha Soul, like turn one Citrus Supplier, turn two Agatha Soul Cauldron, turn three Buried Alive, put Grizzlebrand in play, exile it to Cauldron, and then pay 7 life, draw 7 cards on your Citrus Supplier. Like I think that's just kind of funny and cute. So yeah, keep a
That's
look.
a
Yeah.
so for me, I whenever I see these two cards, my brain always goes to how can I win the game on the spot. So Felidar Guardian plus Kiki Jiki goes infinite. You just
Mm.
they enter tapped, but then the Felidar trigger untaps your Kiki Jiki, and then you just tap to copy your Felidar Guardian. And when I first saw these two cards together, my brain was like, let's do collected. Is it collected conjuring?
Oh sure.
My brain was like, let's just fetch a Dryad Arbor, cast a collected conjuring, sack our Dryad Arbor, go infinite, bring our two dudes back. Someone said Terastodon and like yeah, Terastodon insert like Terastodon plus Blightsteel. um
Yep.
like two creatures that win the game on the spot, right? and so there's
Yeah.
so
Agent
much
of
stuff.
Treachery, like you go like
Yes.
buried alive, get 3 Agent of Treacheries, victimize 2 of them back. That
Yeah,
sounds like a good time.
sounds nasty as hell. But
Yeah.
I think Mike's definitely thinking that Yawgmoth is like the second most played deck, so people are playing Graveyard Hate. People are playing Ley Lines, and Leyline is probably like that deck's worst nightmare. So that's probably
Yeah.
why it's done.
Oh,
But
I think you're exactly right. The format answers.
yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah, let's go ahead and move along. I would actually like to talk about the uh, E tier, or if you had any other topics you wanted to discuss, we could go over that. I just figured maybe we just go down to the bottom
Yeah,
of the barrel.
let's just keep segueing.
Cool.
I
Awesome. I don't have a ton of thoughts about any of these cards. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Like, I think we've talked about the Eldrazi Titans enough. I think those are like interesting, but ultimately I don't think are gonna see a ton of play, except for maybe Kozilek if it ends up being good. Um,
I agree. I think that most of these cards are going to be filler cards and or better replacements of existing cards in certain decks,
yeah.
but not meant to make decks like tier 1 playable.
Yeah. I was listening to the MTG Grindcast today in the shower, and they had mentioned that Jet Medallion makes Chthonian Nightmare 1 mana, which I think is just interesting. Like, so I would say keep an eye out for Jet Medallion, Chthonian Nightmare combos. Making
I
that card 1 mana, I think makes it much better.
I think that the best medallion is definitely gonna be Ruby Medallion. The
Mm,
fact that you just make your slick shots 1 mana and you can turn all of your stuff into straight jet fuel. I'm actually considering adding a couple ruby medallions to goblins to make my matrons 2 mana, my ringleaders 3 mana,
sure.
and they're non-legendary. So if I can get two down, I can have 1 mana matrons.
Well, and it's like
Two.
I honestly feel like Ruby Medallion, as much as this feels like sacrilege to say, might just be better than War Chief and the Goblins. Like it's two
Oh, Cole,
mana.
your
It
brain. You're such a big brain because I haven't been playing War Chief in like months
yeah,
because I cut Cole, I'm also not playing Pashlik Mons. I cut my Pashlik Mons and my War Chief from the deck because they didn't do anything when they entered the battlefield.
sure.
And like Pashlik deals 1 damage when it dies, but like they don't impact the board at all. And so I
Yeah,
cut them other better cards.
that makes sense. Jack is our resident Goblin aficionado. He's literally Goblin ringleader on YouTube, so I'm sure you are aware of that as you are watching this video on YouTube. But yeah, definitely go to him with any of your goblin related inquiries because he's tuned the deck very nicely at this point. And yeah, so all in
Thank you,
all,
Cole.
not a whole lot going on in E tier. Let's move on. Next up, we have a very wide berth in F tier. Let me zoom out just a little bit here. Oh, what happened? There we go. Thoughts on F tier? Is there anything that we just have to rant about that we really disagree with Spike over? Conduit Goblin might be a combo piece. Red White is a pretty distinct casting cost, but it is noticeably a Burning Tree Emissary with Primal Prayers, which I think is of note. I don't think there's really anything else going on with that card though, so take it.
Honestly, I don't have any comments about any of these cards. There's like some playables, some most of these the good ones I reviewed when we did shorts for the spoiler season.
Sure.
I do I do want to segue into after this one, I believe we go back up to the top and I want to go into talk about the raptor card
You
that's
want to go up to
breaking.
S tier? Okay.
Yeah, let's start with the raptor
Sure.
because talking about cards that make energy and are busted in Primal Prayers, I feel like this card is going to be insane in Primal Prayers, but also just like for value cards in general. Um,
Agreed.
like you worst case scenario, like, if you play if you play it for 2 mana and then it gives you 2 energy and you flip a 2 drop, it gives you its mana back. So it's basically a Burning Tree Emissary. Or you could flip a card you don't want to cast like a removal spell, but then like that's the worst case scenario, and then you still have energy for the next one that you cast if you draw another one. So I feel like this card is all upside.
Yeah, y'all are cracked. I'm definitely putting Amdraptor in the first MH3 deck build the first MH3 deck that I build. Most likely it'll be based around Damped Raptor, Galvanic Discharge, maybe Tune the Narrative. Unstable Amulet literally goes very nicely in that type of deck, so it just fits right in there. Like maybe you have Wrath of the Skies in there. Like I feel like the deck just kind of builds itself. It seems like WotC very obviously did that on purpose, but like this card is cracked, y'all. I don't think you really like whoever's being like, "Oh, I don't know if it's that good." Well, you mitigate that by building your deck differently. Like either you're planning for it with Two in the Narrative, you're probably playing Ether Hubs. Like if you go Ether Hub turn one, does Ether Hub give you two energy, or is it just one energy?
It's just one.
Oh, it's just one. Okay, never mind. Um, but still, you go like turn one Aether Hub, whatever. Turn two Mountain Amped Raptor, you got three. Either that or you just build your deck in a way that Amped Raptor always hits. You play it in Burn with no Rift Vault and no Light Up the Stage, totally doable. Or you can just, you know, take the L and still have the super incredibly high upside. So, big agree. Amped Raptor is going to be great. I can't wait to kill the naysayers, as they say. This card's bad. Okay, shake my hand. Is how I feel
Yeah,
about it.
like
So
that was like that a good game. Game over.
yeah, for sure. Um, Sewing microspawn I think is something that people are maybe not talking about enough. Three and a green. Got kicker one and a colorless. When you cast the spell, you search your library for a land card, put on the battlefield, then shuffle. When you cast the spell, if it was kicked, exile target land. Second line of text, I feel like is mostly flavor text. You can probably play it in some situations. However, 4 mana, cast trigger, any untapped land that you would want in your life. This card seems very good. Um, would like Amulet Titan want sewing microspawn? I don't know, maybe, but this effect is just so unique and cool that I think that it's impossible not to have me have my spidey senses go off and be like, this grabs Valakut, this grabs, like Lotus Field, it can grab Nykthos, it can grab Cabal Coffers untapped. Um, so yeah.
Which is yeah, it's literally what you want to do in every situation.
Yeah, and if you go like sowing microspawn, for whatever reason you want to do this, sowing microspawn, grab Phyrexian Tower, put it into play, sack it for 2 black mana, like that's
Yeah,
something you can do. So
yeah, that is a line. That those are the cards that you can cast, and that's pretty crazy.
yeah. Um, what else do we got here? Yeah, I I don't know. I think all these cards are gonna be fine.
Yeah, I think that there's cards that slot into existing decks. There's not really that many decks that I feel like are just going to emerge out of the blue. There's going to be some, but I can't speak on things that I don't know. I have no knowledge of. So I think that the energy cards are going to be good. But speaking of energy cards, do you want to look at some of the Primal Prayer builds that or early
Mm,
builds that I put there?
yeah, for sure. I'd be happy to.
Just like general like ideas, piles of cards for ideas that we can kind of discuss. Um, but after we get through the rest of these cards, do you have any thoughts about like primal prayers, wrath of skies, anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we went over it when we did our initial spoilers in terms of just like looking at the tier list that Spike made and seeing, where they lie. Pretty much agree with most of these takes. Um, yeah, I really don't have any too many thoughts on the like SA B tier. I think he did pretty well with these, and then like these are all by themselves good average
Yeah.
cards. This all looks fine. We can go ahead and move on to your stuff. Nadu's busted. I don't think like
Ooh, we have to talk about Nadus. So we covered it initially, I believe, but the combination of that with Shuko is absolutely nasty and leads to some devastating board states.
yeah.
Um, what are you most scared of? Like, do you think that it's just going to be Simic Nadu? Are you scared it's going to slot into an existing deck?
It's a good question. I think it's kind of dumb that the card triggers whenever it gets targeted by an opponent's spell, like or ability. I think that's just kind of like an issue. I think this card, very possible, this card is just a design mistake. And when I look at it, it's like I evaluate the card now only in the context of having Shuko alongside it. And I think that if that's the case, card is either going to be not okay and needs some sort of attention from it, or the format being a format of answers is able to adapt and it just kind of preys on the decks that are not interactive, which I don't think that that is any different in any significant way than um, like Devoted Druid or Heliod Company. Like Heliod is a 3 mana indestructible enchantment. Nadu's a 3/4 flyer for 3, so she's pretty good. She also draws a ton of cards when she does her thing. But yeah, that's how I feel about it. Like I think that the format is it's very possible that the format's able to adapt, but it's also I think very as equally possible that the format is just not doing something that's able to keep up with turn 2 Shuko, turn 3 Nadu. Even if you kill my Shuko, now here's my Nadu, you target it, I draw a card, I start targeting it with things, I draw cards. Like it just kind of gives me Uro Oko vibes, and that's not good. So
It's yeah. It's like they forgot that making 3 mana Simic cards good is not a good thing.
why is it untapped? Like it just seems like so many of these safety valves that could have gone right went wrong with this card. If it's a land card, put it onto the battlefield. Period. Why? Are you trying to save words on this like Xbox? Creatures you control have, whenever this creature becomes the target of a spell or ability, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a land card, put it onto the battlefield. Period. Otherwise, put it into your hand. This ability triggers only twice each turn. This card is just like someone was like, whoever is the Simic ambassador for WotC came through in the middle of the night and just like pushed the levers up on Nadu without anyone looking, is how I feel about it. So
Every time I read it, I thought it was a 2/3, and it was like, oh, it's a 3/4. So that's fine. I didn't expect it to be
is it
the
fine? It doesn't die to lightning bolt. Like
yeah, and it flies,
so
so
I
it eats a
yeah.
DRC.
So I really think like we're gonna be in the era of like your deck is full either full of answers or it's competing with something like Shuko on 2, Nadu on 3, like pretty much win the game. Um, so like, do we have the tools to do that? I think we might. Tune the sky or tune the narrative into Wrath of the Skies on turn 2. Like even on the draw, you can still blow up a Shuko. That's a way to do that main deck. Like if you're playing a weird like energy control deck, or I don't know. It just seems like there's tools here, but I guess it kind of just remains to be seen.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see what happens. Um,
Cool. So let me
what?
get your Mox Field pulled up and that you have Primal Prayer stuff going on. Jack the Whack is your name.
Yeah, we have a couple different primal prayer lists built.
Um,
So the first one, 1.0, is gonna be just a straight combo variant. We're just trying to use primal prayers to cheat Acerak and Guide of Souls into play as fast as possible.
okay.
So real quick, what's the creature that gives haste when it enters the battlefield, but it's an adventure card?
Rimrock Knight, I think.
Hmm, what's is the one?
Oh yeah, no, you're right.
It's like Marauder, not Marauders. It's like a legacy card or something. I get killed by Pioneer all the time.
You do.
It's in the Boros Convoke deck.
Not Bellowing Bruiser.
It's a one, but
Oh,
it's a red.
Immodane's Recruiter.
Yeah, what's it called?
Immodane's Recruiter.
Cool. Is that 3 mana?
Yeah, 3 mana. Its adventure side is not important. It's 5 mana to make 2/2/2 knights, but it's two in a red for a 2/2 human knight. When it enters this battlefield, creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain haste until end of turn. So it becomes a 3/2 haste that also gives your whole team +1/+0 and haste. The card is really cracked for sure.
So, in my opinion, you can cast it with Primal Prayers, which is insane. Um,
I see where you're going. Okay.
so, in my opinion, I think that we have to play the deck in a go back. Sorry, go back to the stuff deck. I just I just got the
Stuff stuff.
non-lands to
Sure.
do the visual view. I don't know if you.
Um, you visual grid.
So hear me out, okay? We're cooking. So you have Onadu in play with a Shuko,
Okay, how are
which
we casting primal prayers in this game plan?
I just got the non-lands. I haven't put the land.
No, I'm not saying lands. I'm saying are you just casting primal prayers on turn 4, or are we putting ramp in here as well?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna try to fit in. Is I was gonna try to figure out how to. I, you know what I like to do?
This is a pile of magic cards. Well, you gotta put Galvanic Discharge in here too, because that's an energy card that's not worth skipping. And if you're playing red, you have to play Amped Raptor, also an energy card. Yeah, I feel like this deck just kind of builds itself, eh?
So you're saying don't play ramp, play Raptor,
Well,
because we could try to turn to it with Arbor Elf Utopia Sprawl.
no, I wouldn't try turn 2ing it with Utopia Sprawl, because then you're locking yourself into forest mana fixers, and I think your mana would just be too bad if you're playing 4 colors and you're like a base Utopia Sprawl deck. Like I want to play I want to be able to play Delighted Halfling in this deck, but like it only casts Nadu. Um, like that's a pretty big issue with that. Just trying to think. It's like definitely seems like an interesting space for sure. Where it's like, do you play ramp or do you play like a slower game plan, tune the narrative, galvanic discharge, maybe guide of souls plus a bunch of like low to the ground creatures. You get your energy. Well, you have to play guide of souls, right? Like, um, that's like the combo.
So Shrieking Drake allows you to gain infinite life with Guide of Souls because it's 1 mana, pay 1 mana to cast it and pick it back up. But it also, if you have a Guide of Souls and a Nadu out, your Shrieking Drake allows you to reset your Nadu. So then you're able to get more triggers. I believe because it's left and it's come back, it doesn't see the two that happened,
Yeah,
and
that sounds right to me.
then you're able to
Absolutely.
act.
Do we
So
play? Oh, it doesn't. Not it doesn't get grabbed by either of the recruiters, so that sucks. Like Recruiter of the Guard or Imperial Recruiter
mhm.
are both twos, and it's a 3/4. So I guess that's like the one bad thing about having an absolute dump truck stat. stat line.
Yeah, you're like, God damn it.
Alright, why
But
couldn't you be a 2/4?
could you theoretically draw your deck with Nadu then?
So
If
the
you had
uh
so you have Tuco, a Guide of Souls, a Nadu, and a Shrieking Drake.
well yeah, with Shrieking Drake, yes, if you have a Primal Prayers in play, a Guide of Souls, a Shrieking Drake, a Nadu, and a Shuko, you know, let's forget the fact that that's 5 cards, right?
And no lands.
Yeah. Then the Guide of Souls Shrieking Drake like pick up each other, or the picks up the Shrieking Drake, and then each instance of Shrieking Drake is 2 more triggers off Shuko. So the Nadu will let you draw your deck that way.
And then you just use the energy because eventually you'll find another Guide of Souls. So you just chain
Oh
Guide of Soul.
wait, that doesn't work because if you pick up Shrieking Drake with Shrieking Drake, there's no instance for you to equip it with Shuko. So then I don't think this goes infinite. So if we go like play Shrieking Drake with Primal Prayers, pick up Nadu, now you get to reset your Nadu, but then you don't have a Shrieking Drake like trigger to use. So that
Oh, so
doesn't work.
you would need to find another Shrieking Drake. So you
the the only infinite combo I've seen with Nadu so far is with that Spring Heart card,
yeah.
the one that's like landfall make a 1/1. Is each and even then that's not a deterministic infinite combo. You need to be hitting like eventually it gets overwhelmingly like basically deterministic in a way that it feels deterministic, but it might not actually be.
Mhm.
Otherwise, like I don't know, you have 3 creatures in play, you have 6 Nadu triggers every turn. That's absolutely ridiculous. Like, are you really complaining about that?
Yeah.
I feel like,
You should be able to win.
and you have Stone Forges, so you could play Stone Forge for Shuko, play Nadu. Um,
So
I'm actually curious as to what Spike's Primal Players looks like.
I have two other lists, but let's look at Spikes because he knows what he's doing.
I just want to see how it compares to what you have in terms of ideas. Like, no idea is wrong right now. I just kind of want to see. Banned Nadu Prayers. So, and this has the obvious Icefang Quaddle, Coiling Oracle, because Icefang Quaddle, Coiling Oracle both pitch to Flare Denial and Flare Cultivation if you decide to go down that route. Uh, so like that just makes sense. These cards are very good with Primal Prayers. You put them in for 1 energy, they replace themselves. You get that energy back for Guide of Souls. You're fucking in it. Looks like they are playing Delighted Halfling. They'll literally only play Nadu. Also, unironically playing Mana War seems a little bit like a meme, but maybe it's not. Maybe Mana War is just really good with Primal Prayers, where it's a card. There's no way that this card is not just an absolute meme, though. Aether Channeler exists, and he's playing 0 Aether Channelers. What is happening, right?
There,
Am I tripping at that?
there has to be a legit reason.
Is it a wizard? Aether Channeler's a wizard. Um, make a 1/1 with flying, return another non-land permanent to its owner's hand or draw a card. And Mana
He-
War only
It's just
returns a creature.
that's it. That's just someone who looks at so many Magic cards that they've realized, you know what? I'm going to stick to what I know to work, and I'm not going to worry about new cards coming out. Like he probably knows that card exists, but doesn't realize that it's better in this context.
I bet this is supposed to be Aether Channeler, but because, no, he proxied everything, so I'm so confused. I'm sure he's got a reason why that'll blow my mind, but that's kind of funny. Um, okay. Hydroelectric Specimen. ETB, change the target of target instant or sorcery spell. Oh, but it's just an MDFC blue land. Okay. Thoughts on this deck list? Thassa's Oracle,
I
Yu
think
Shuko.
I think his
Uh,
brain is bigger than mine. He knows what he's doing, and I respect the hell out of it.
this list looks really clean. Like I'm not gonna lie. Aside from the Mana War, it seems a little sus. Pretty clean looking.
So that list doesn't have any combos in it. How do you feel about Primal Prayers with a combo?
Yeah, this deck does this list doesn't even have Guide of Souls in it. So how do we feel about Primal Prayers with the combo you're saying? So specifically with um like Guide of
So
Souls and the Spring Heart, or what is the infinite combo with Primal Prayers? You just play that with Shrieking Drake and Guide of Souls and you gain infinite life?
no, it's so Acerak is the main one. One guy to souls, one Acerak, you kill them. So if you go back to my deck list, if you
Oh, yep. Because Asarak enters the dungeon, and then if you've completed the dungeon,
so don't go to stuff. Yeah, go to Primal Prayers 1.0. So the visual view. Sorry, it's just it's easier for me to know.
no, that makes sense.
So bear with me, okay? So we are in our Burl Utopia Sprawl deck,
And playing 5 colors?
playing five,
This
but
should
we
be
have
Abundant Harvest, but that's okay. We can, or
we can
Abundant
we
Growth.
this yeah this is a basic idea. So
Yeah.
we can turn to Primal Prayers, chuck Acerak and Guide of Souls into play, and go off. It's not too crazy. We can just cast Guide of Souls, Acerak, but the Primal Prayers is needed to be able to like complete the dungeon.
Wait,
Um,
so does this go infinite?
I believe because it is Flash. Uh, before the
Oh,
yeah,
no.
that's what'll do
It
it. I
returns on
believe.
resolution, though.
Well, yeah, no, that's fine, but you don't go through the dungeon. I think
Enters
you
the
venture the
battlefield.
dungeon afterwards,
I see. So Venture of the Dungeon is a separate trigger.
and then in response to that, I think
I
you
see.
can cast.
Okay.
But if you Google it, I think that
Yeah,
prime.
there is Ace Rock. I know what you're talking about.
I don't want to misrepresent how it's worded.
This is the combo in Pioneer. You play this with Relic of Legends. Gwenna,
Oh,
Gwenna, 1 extra mana, cast Acerak, tap Acerak to Relic of Legends, make a mana, and then you bounce the Acerak. So I've actually done this specific combo in on MTG Arena. I just don't understand.
I
Oh, because you can go through the non-Tomb of Annihilation, I think is what's happening
yeah,
here.
I think that is what it is.
Yeah, so you're not going through Tomb of Annihilation. You go through a different
One of
tomb, and it lets you go all the way through. Does Gatherer tell me more? I'm sure it doesn't. Let's see.
but so that's the main combo. The main combo is Acerak plus Guide of Souls somehow goes infinite. Yeah, rules text, please.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find the tombs. Here's the Tomb of Annihilation. Yeah, so you can go through. Good lord, what quality is that? There's the Tomb of Annihilation, so you don't go through that one. You go through the Lost Mine of Pandelver, maybe.
Sure.
Dark, and then you go through Dark Pool, and Dark Pool kills them. Each opponent loses 1 life, you gain 1 life.
That's
We
yeah.
we found the way.
And
Cool.
then yes.
So that makes sense. So you play Guide of Souls, Acerak, and that's a 2 card combo.
Yeah.
That's
You just have
cool.
you have to get your Primal Prayers into play. So that's the
I like
so
that.
And then we also have another combo in the deck. There's also the new spice, the new hotness, which is the Cranko plus the um, Soul Cranko plus Warren Soul
Soul
Trader.
Trader, I see.
And then if you have either a Guide of Souls in play, you gain infinite life, or a Blood Artist in play, then they drain
But
for
don't you
infinite.
pay a life for Warren, so aren't you just net life if you...
So actually, my bad. You're right. Guide. I always forget about the fact that you pay life.
Yeah.
Uh, guide. So you get infinite energy from Guide of Souls, and then you drain them for infinite damage with or loss of life with Blood Artist. And then the other creatures are pretty much just there as like things you can chuck into play for free with Primal Prayers.
Yeah.
We're a great blocker. This is just a very rough draft.
Yeah, we'll see how, like, right now I love, now that you've explained it to me, the Acerec Guide of Souls combo. The Krenko Warren Soul Trader combo is also very cool. I think Warren Soul Trader in general is just like very good in general. So excited to see that it's got combo potential with Krenko. They're both goblins as well, and they're both 3/3s for 3. So like shout out to Goblins having respectable stat lines. Apparently WotC has finally pulled the trigger. It just took the most juice modern, like direct to modern set we've had so far to be like, you know what? The Goblins players can have 3 mana 3/3s. We'll allow it. It's been long
Ha-
enough.
Hallelujah!
So that's pretty cool. Also, this is a keyword, bro. It's 3 mana 3/3 with haste. Like hell yeah. Um,
Yeah,
no,
and
that's
yeah, he's aggressively statted, which is great. And so like I feel like this deck is like less good than the second deck we're gonna look at, which is Primal Prayers 1.2, which is much better. This is a tier visual view again, but this is a tier version of what we were just talking about. I think that this deck may be playable. Uh, I I personally don't feel like we need to play Grief Solitude, but people were telling me that we needed to play Grief Solitude, so we're playing Grief Solitude.
okay.
Um, you're basically just the same thing as the other deck, except you're trying to combo with either Acerec Guide of Souls, or we can go Heliod's like Feeder, and then you play Grist because Grist is a creature in your hand. You can tuck Grist into play,
Wait,
and then
this deck is so weird. It's such a pile. First of all, I agree with you. I don't think that grief is needed. Like, I certainly not
you
grief solitude in this shell. Like,
you you can Grief Ephemerate because you have 4 or 3 Ephemerate.
why are we grief ephemerating? Like, my question is solitude, right? Solitude is good in Heliod because it gives you like you have plenty of white cards to pitch. Typically, you just need like that safety valve. Like, and that works because you're in a two-color deck that's white dependent, white heavy. You're like
Yeah,
stretching yourself into a three-color deck. Like Grist is awkward because it doesn't pitch to Solitude. It, and like in this specific instance, like because these aren't white cards, Solitude becomes worse because you can't pitch them, and as a result, Grief becomes worse because you can't pitch your green or white cards to Grief. It just feels really
it's true.
like messy, honestly, if I be honest. I think you could still play blacks. I love the idea of putting a grist into play off of Primal Prayers. I think that's like maybe the hottest thing you could potentially do so far in my mind in MH3. Like that just sounds so fun to me. So,
Fuck yeah.
but no, I
This
completely agree. This seems a little extra.
but
I f
yeah, this is like a rough idea, right?
Yeah, for sure. I feel like you could like go harder into the white and be totally cool with Solitude, or go harder into black, be good with Grief. But like the issue also is playing Primal Prayers. Primal Prayers doesn't care about grief or solitude. They both don't work with Primal Prayers. And then like Ephemerate's awkward with Primal Prayers too. So like individually powerful cards, very good if you can make the thing work. Otherwise, not super high on it.
And then the last deck I really want to talk about is called Dynavolt Energy, and I'm so sorry.
No, don't
Uh,
apologize. What does this
so
do? Dynavolt Tower. 2 energy. Okay. Pay
so
5. 3 damage
if
target
you go,
creature player. Okay. Which is now any target, I'd have to assume. Creature player. That's right around the time that they errated um, the templating from creature player to any target. So,
yeah, so this deck is basically a Aether Revolt deck. The whole deck is built around Aether Revolt. You want to get as many copies of it into play as possible. Um, I I don't play Amped Raptor, and I should.
hmm.
I'm actually change that right now.
Yeah, do it.
Um,
Let me know when you do, and I'll reset it. Oh, you're like a control deck with the Dynavolt Tower being your finisher. Interesting.
and Aether Revolt. We just get energy and
Oh,
Aether
right.
Revolt
Yeah.
domes people.
Yeah. I like this idea. I like this idea. I think it's kind of like brave of you not to be having any actual legitimate threats. Like you're literally looks like you're just killing them with these two, which is that seems like
Well,
something, but
I'm gonna add the oh come on.
the Amped Raptors.
Yeah. I'm trimming the Aether spikes.
Yeah, good plan. That would be the first card I'd touch here as well. The rest, everything else is kind of cute. Like maybe you don't need Static Prison because you have Galvanic Discharge already, like in such high numbers. If I have 4 main deck Wrath of the Skies is gonna like do really good things for you, and I think that something that's been pointed out, I think is important to note, is Wrath of the Skies has some very real tension with Static Prison being an enchantment. Also, like Wrath of the Skies does kill Dynavolt Tower and Aether Revolt, so be careful of that as well.
It
Um,
does, yeah.
and Genitorium, so
It's almost like we shouldn't play Wrath of Skies.
it almost like in the sideboard where like
Yeah.
or yeah, or maybe just not at all, honestly, is a good point.
And that helps us wait, that helps us not play white. If we cut the static prisons as well,
Oh yeah, there you go.
we
So now
don't
you're
play
not playing
white.
white, you're just blue red.
And
Um,
then we should be playing like DRCs or something.
Darcy, I was just about to say DRC seems perfect in here. Um, do we care about Murktide Regent? Like it's a big fat creature that cares about instants and sorceries.
We kind of want to just flip things with Amtraptor.
Sure, keep the curve nice and low.
DRCs are $4. It's an uncommon.
Sure,
What the fuck?
sure, yeah, why not?
Yeah, right.
I mean, Shuko's going for $30 right now. It's a fucking uncommon from Kamigawa.
Yeah. What a time to be alive. And then
I could have gotten in underneath the Shuko hype, by the way. I was lazy and I didn't buy them. They
no, it's
shot
okay.
up. If I look at the price history, they were like cents for so long, and then all of a sudden, like I'm sure the playtest happened with Spike and Dingo, and then it was like, oh, yep, this card's busted.
Yeah, I
This deck
didn't
seems
pay.
very cool. I think it's an uh, interesting idea as well. I think that you could potentially lean even a little bit harder on the energy theme as well, with cards like the I mean, if we just go back to um, your list here. What am I looking for? I'm looking for the A tier guy. This guy, Unstable Amulet. One in a red. ETB, get 2 energy. Whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, deals a damage to each opponent. And then you can tap, pay 2 energy, exile the top card of your library, play that card uh, until you exile another card with Unstable Amulet. So it just kind of gets like flipped up onto the amulet, and you can play it whenever. I think this card's also super real. The way to
Yep,
utilize your energy combo
that's so.
wombos.
If you refresh the page, I added some cards. Um, I don't even know if AetherSpike is worth it, but
I don't
this
think
is what
AspiringSpike is worth it, but it's, might be worth trying at the very least.
I can no, I can find better cards. What's a blue card that makes energy? Oh, we don't play Whirler Virtuoso. What?
There you go. Whirler Virtuoso, sounds fine. Oh, play Volatile Storm Drake, dude.
Oh yeah.
Oh, for sure, dude. Volatile Storm Drake all day. Also, you unironically, oh, I guess these are tapped MDFCs, so they're less good. But this one's a blue-red, draw two cards instant, then you can discard a card unless you pay 2 energy. So maybe like a one of utility land could be decent.
What's it called?
Rush of Inspiration. Like, yeah, I don't know if Row's worth it, to be completely honest.
It's an instance, so it's good. Ral would be cool, but I don't think this is the deck.
Yeah, agreed.
I gotta update the
Uh,
map. If you refresh the page one more time, I think this is the
got the Genitorium. Yeah, I mean, honestly, if I'm gonna be completely honest with you, Volatile Storm Drake, Amp Raptor, Darcy, or you don't play Darcy anymore, but like that's gonna kill a lot of people.
yeah.
You go fetch, you go like Aether Revolt, next turn fetch land, fucking Volatile Storm Drake, deal 6 to you for 2 mana, like take control of your Yawgmoth and make you sacrifice it. Like,
That's pretty good.
yeah, this deck is gonna be hella fun to play, I think.
Yeah, play. Yeah, do that. Galvanic Discharge. Deal fucking 5 to their face.
Also, look at how
Uh,
much this deck is going for. It's 649 on. Oh, never mind. I was looking at the wrong. I was looking at the wrong thing. I was like, this deck is
no,
not
the deck.
expensive.
I was gonna say if I take all the lands out,
Right, and Force Negation. We
yeah,
have most of these cards. I think like Volatile Storm Drake currently going on TCG Player for $3. Amp Raptor's
yeah,
$1.90. Galvanic Discharge is some sense. Tune the Narrative is some sense. Unstable Amulet also some sense. Aether Revolt probably for Commander it's $3, but like yeah, for sure. This is sweet.
yeah. That's just some brewing I did, and just wanted to hear what you thought about it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I think we can probably wrap up the podcast. I know we've just kind of been like recklessly rambling for the last 30 minutes or whatever, 45 minutes, but no, this is exactly what we wanted to do. Thanks for joining us, team.
Thank you for hanging out, and we'll be coming back soon with more thoughts on Modern Horizons 3. And stay safe and have fun.
Absolutely. All right, until next time, team. See ya.
Peace.